I'm actually doing this in my support group this week, how to communicate to get what you want in divorce. But it's really beyond divorce. It's about re
Hmm.
scripting your communication style
Right.
in a way that doesn't feel combative or threatening or
Hmm.
feeling like an individual is getting attacked. It's about how to change your language to still get the outcome that you're looking for, but yet not make it sound like you are, beating somebody up, right? Because so many times in our marriages, we slip into this kind of very combative, threatening, attacking
Hmm.
Asian style, which then just makes us feel like we're walking on eggshells, right? And nobody wants that moving forward into,
Hmm.
take two. Nobody wants
Right.
that.
Right.
And just learning those specific words. So when you work with clients on
Hmm.
how to have a more productive communication style moving into what I'm calling take two. What are some of the key elements that you talk about so they don't go back into those bad habits, which potentially could have caused some of that irreconcilable differences?
Right. Yeah. Language is so powerful, right? The words that we use about ourselves and other people and with other people. So I really encourage people to pay attention to the words that they choose to use because words matter. But really understanding what your communication style is, taking some time to research or to work with somebody and understand that. We certainly know paying attention to using the use of I statements, rather than saying you do blankety blank, you might say, I feel like this when you do blank. So you're owning your experience of it rather than just pointing the finger. Some of the language that I use, there's a difference between saying, you always do blank, right? And words like always and never just automatically back the other person into a corner and then there's no room to move. And so just being mindful of not using words like always and never and trying to catch yourself when you do that. Even if you start to do that, say, wait a minute, it's not always, sometimes you do this. And when that happens, I feel blank. And the goal is understanding. That's the thing I remind people of. Your goal in communicating, or it's, what to have for dinner or to address conflict is to get to a place of understanding. You don't even have to agree 100%. I mean, you might have to agree on the restaurant you're going to go to, or else you're going to be eating separately. But, if there's a larger issue, you don't have to totally agree with each other. What's important, though, is that you understand where the other person is at, because that understanding is part of what's going to contribute to greater connection, greater intimacy, and help you move through those things. The other thing I talk about with people that's important is looking for opportunities to add to what I call like the bucket of goodwill. Because if you're operating in a deficit, where there's just lots of fighting and there's no kind of positive shared experiences, whether it's in communication or getting out in the world, then you're operating from a deficit. And when you then have conflict, you have no foundation that's going to help you, nothing to draw from. And so looking for opportunities in your everyday life, in those small moments of your everyday relationship that you can do that will add to that bucket of goodness that then serves as a foundation to help you when things get challenging.
And I love the bucket. I think that that's so important. Even in my divorce relationship with my ex, I take a lot of time to express gratitude for the good. And I recognize all the things that he's doing well. And I make sure I communicate it.